December 21st, 2012. Daybreak doesn't come. All remains dark. The world has come to an end. Many ancient cultures from across the globe describe startling events that seem to be taking place now. Are they pointing to 2012? Our planet is faced with crises of alarming complexity. Oil shortages, vanishing species, deadly tsunamis, economic chaos, and nuclear threats. Is this coincidence, or is something more ominous unfolding?
We are reaching a confluence of tipping points in fundamental systems. There's tipping points in the energy system, there's tipping points in the climate systems of the planet, there's tipping points in terms of the financial system, food production, water issues.
We're at the moment when all of these things converge, that time when the world is either destroyed or made new or both.
Eerier still, some believe these same prophecies are portrayed in the Lost Book's images. All seem to point to the fact that in 2012, from the Earth's perspective, the Sun will align with the center of the Milky Way galaxy in an incredibly rare astronomical phenomenon that occurs only once every 26,000 years.
Half the 26,000-year cycle coincides pretty darn accurately with the last ice age and the end thereof, and to talk about the greatest time of global warming was the melting of the last ice age. God forbid we should be in for something of that magnitude.
The world as a whole feels like we're approaching some kind of passage. And I think what is at the root of this is the galactic alignment.
One of the most significant ancient cultures thought to have observed this phenomenon is the Maya, famous for their advanced grasp of astronomy. Their possible warning that this alignment of the Sun and the galaxy center, known as the Dark Rift, might bring terrible consequences, is believed to be repeated by a number of ancient cultures.
Most of these end times, apocalyptic predictions and visions of the future have centered on the fact that when the sun is rising in this dark rift, it's going to be bad. This is the time of cataclysm. This is the time of destruction.
These prophecies have this eerie resemblance to each other, which many researchers into this work, kind of get goosebumps.
There are, by my count, 15 or 16 independent kind of indicators that all suggest that 2012 is going to be a time of extraordinary shift. There's no way to see your way through the layered kind of series of converging extraordinary things. Even one of them is enough to dramatically disrupt the whole system.
Recently uncovered Lost Book of Nastradamus contains 7 stark images that also might point to 2012. Is this proof that there was ancient knowledge of a coming event?
The 7 images in the Lost Book of Nastradamus are telling us a story. And that's why they're united by this Wheel of Fortune or Wheel of Time at the top. Those images start with the sun, and under the sun is a lion. That's obviously calling attention to the fact that when the sun is in Leo, this is somehow important. When the sun is in Leo, or when the sun is in the opposite sign, Aquarius, that means we're at the galactic alignment.
But his understanding of the heavens is crucial to his work. He is an astute astrologer who believes that the map of the future is embedded in the stars.
To a certain degree, his basic idea of forecasting the future is based on the idea that time is cyclical, that there are motions of the sun and the moon and the stars, and that as those patterns, those angles between planets repeat, that there would be similar events.
Once every 26,000 years, we line up through the December solstice sun with the center of the Milky Way galaxy. This seems to be the reason why the Maya picked December 21st of 2012 to end their great cycle.
Skeptics claim that an ancient interpretation of the stars is unlikely to have any significant impact on our lives. But the astonishing achievements of ancient Mayan astronomers still mystifies experts today.
The Maya believed that that black hole at the center of the Milky Way was the navel of the galaxy from which the stars were born. And today astronomers believe that in fact that black hole at the center of the galaxy is where the stuff that the stars and the planets are made. Pretty darn good for 1,500 years ago.
We still do not know how the Maya were able to pinpoint these amazingly accurate astronomical occurrences. But their obsession with the heavens is clear. They carefully position their temples and monuments to mirror the constellations. Some believe they even play out their predictions of the coming 2012 alignment on a mystical ball court, where the ball going through the stone hoop represents the sun aligning perfectly with the center of the galaxy, known as the Dark Rift.
The ball court is the Milky Way. The ball is also the December solstice sun. And the goal ring is the Dark Rift in the Milky Way.
This ritual ball game not only reenacts the alignment, but according to researchers, it also incorporates the possible life or death consequences the alignment brings. For if the players cannot get the ball through the hoop, their leader is brutally beheaded.
Nastradamus seems to try to describe global warming as a fire in the sky, something as a blazing sun.
Since 1998, every single summer has been hotter than the summer before. Every single one.
Some suggest that the galactic alignment will coincide with a peak in solar activity. This controversial theory holds that the sun's impact on the Earth waxes and wanes over time, and that a solar peak can cause massive disruptions, including an increase in global temperatures.
Our own scientists are telling us that our solar cycle, the solar cycle of our sun right now, will peak right about the 2012 solstice, right in that time. And when it peaks, and this is a quote from National Center of Atmospheric Research in Boulder, Colorado, one of the scientists there used a highly technical term to describe what this peak would be. He said it would be a doozy.
This is not the random confluence of a variety of things that are just coming together. This is a much bigger transition than anything that we've ever lived in before, and we certainly don't have any experience nor the tools to be able to deal with this kind of change.
One of the most striking images from this remarkable book speaks of an impending apocalypse, and some see its symbols as a warning.
What really triggers the whole thing is the 3 eclipsed moons. There's going to be 3 eclipses in 2012. Very unusual. There's going to be a total eclipse of the sun. There's going to be the eclipse of Venus against the sun. And then there's the grand eclipse of the ages, the eclipse of the sun and the center of the galaxy.
Interpreters believe that the spiral shape at the head of the scorpion in this drawing is a direct reference to the spiral shape of the Milky Way galaxy.
No one in the mid-1600s knew, supposedly, that we had a galaxy, much less that it was a spiral galaxy.
Some experts theorize that the pyramids were built to precisely match the 3 stars that make up the belt of the constellation Orion, also known as the Hunter, or the Wise Man.
Orion is the key player. The way they joined up the dots, almost without exception in all the ancient cultures, was as a man standing with his arms raised and his legs apart, and he's wearing a belt studded with 3 different stars, the belt stars of Orion.
These researchers claim that the Egyptians are pointing to Orion because it marks the halfway point of the 26,000-year circle the sun makes between galactic alignments.
The fact that the monuments are aligned with their celestial counterparts for the time in the history when they were present in the sky above Giza tells us that whoever built those monuments understood that movement. And this particular alignment for the three pyramids and through the Sphinx was exactly 1/2 of this 26,000-year cycle that we're now experiencing.
The Sphinx, along with the entire Giza complex, can then be viewed as pointing to the coming galactic alignment.
Our ancestors clearly understood the movement of Earth through the heavens, the movement of our solar system through the galaxy, and the changes, the cyclic changes that we could expect as that movement reached certain milestones. And it appears that one of those is upon us in this time, right now.
The next drawing in the Lost Book sequence furthers the story.
This image has a man holding a sword straight up and down with, again, one of these Mobius strip patterns making an S. If you're standing in a very clear place on a hot summer night and you look up at the sky, you will see that the Milky Way makes an S across the sky. So this is the great alignment with the galaxy. It's going right up through the center of the galaxy, through this center of this S. He's telling us there's a club destroying the tree of life. So he's telling us that there's a great danger afoot when this alignment happens.